Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, dear yogis. I hope this finds you feeling well today. We're doing a flow class, and I'm really thinking this week about what it takes to ground, to root. So we're going to be doing a lot of movements that inspire that, and with some dog series and stuff thrown in. Please notice how much is appropriate for you today. So if you find that you're not able to breathe deeply, I mean, our breath will speed up, that's normal. But if you feel like you're kind of rushed for breath, go slower, but also go into a resting pose and then come on back. Conversely, if you're wanting more at some point when I'm taking us into, say, a forward fold ragdoll or child's pose, and you're like, this just feels good, I need to keep going, you could always go through another dog series or some other posture that inspires you. And again, any little add-ons that I'm offering, notice if they feel great. If they put stress on your wrists or your shoulders or something, just leave them out. So that is the perfect yoga practice where you are listening to what your body wants today and getting out of your head and whatever ideas it may have. So we're going to start off standing, and I just want to come into a little bit wider than mountain, which would be straight down from the hip bones, a little bit wider. In fact, go sideways on your mat if you would. And we're going to just start off by taking those arms out and feeling a rooting down through the feet, reaching out, particularly through the middle finger, shoulder head sliding down, pressing up through the crown of the head, and that's kind of at the back top. And if this becomes uncomfortable for your arms, just let them come down and then back up. But we're going to take this place to come into breath and breath awareness and rooting and reaching. So notice initially as you're standing here that it's easy to just kind of feel like you are attached to the floor by gravity. But I'd like you instead to feel that you're actively engaging down into the earth. And if need be, kind of bend the knees and push and let that help your spine reach up towards the sky. You can do the same with the arms if they feel just kind of there. Try drawing them in a little, bending, and then reaching out. And we're going to breathe into this shape. Breathing through the nose if you can, slow, deep and wide, in and out. Turn your gaze up and in towards the center of the forehead, third eye. Lightly connect the tip of the tongue at the roof of the mouth behind the front teeth. Stay soft in the base of the tongue, the jaw, and even the lips. You might smile slightly. We know that the stance, if you will, or positioning of these parts of the body, the eyes, mouth, lips, really tell us what's real. If I've got my eyebrows furrowed and my jaw clenched, it says I'm under stress. These softened, joyful positioning suggest I am well, I am whole, I am safe. And as we choose to come into poses that offer intensity, again, those softened positions in the face and neck and so on allow us to remember that it's just a deep pleasure to find our edge, to challenge the body. There's no striving, there's nowhere to get to, and certainly nothing to survive. All right, I bet your arms are ready to come down. Take one more long inhale, rotate the palms up. Exhale, slowly let the arms return down. Good. Go ahead and bend the knees and just begin moving the arms. I think of it as kind of a limp skiing motion, as if you were doing Nordic skiing. So you're just sort of swinging the arms front and back. And you don't have to measure the breath with the movements. Just make sure the breath is happening steadily. And we'll do just a few more. We're getting a lot of chi going in our body in this class. We really want to make sure we're activating energy, life force. And let that slow down. And come into, please, your jet airplane arms here, palms rotated forward. And just pause and notice what you're feeling in your body, if anything has shifted. All right, we're going to do a movement with the arms and legs. And initially, we're going to start with our arms up. And initially, we're going to be doing same hand to same thigh. So draw a long inhale. On your exhale, lift the right thigh, slap it with your right hand, and then push back down through that heel. Long inhale, exhale. Exhale, slap that thigh, inhale, return. And take all the time you need with the breath. I'm doing the exhale kind of fast, but then make sure I'm exploring the full inhale. Last one this side. Good. Other side. Left hand to left thigh. And really push down with that heel. You're re-rooting, planting deep down below the earth's surface. Couple more. Notice if it's different on one side. Last one this side. Inhale, exhale, slowly let those arms come on down. Let's do a little stretch here. Just a nice little cross body movement with one arm, and we'll take it into what I call kind of standing thread the needle. So you let that arm come across, the other hand comes to the elbow, and we draw the arm in towards the chest. Very important, this shoulder is anchored. We're not shrugging or hunching. We don't have the arm way up by the chin. And I sometimes like rotating down a little to the side to deepen that stretch. Bring breath into your upper back. Again, you're rooting into the earth. And when you're ready, release and just let it fly up and away. Other side. And I'm just swinging it across my body. It's nice range of motion. You know, it's a movement that we don't make a lot during the day, but really helps counterbalance a lot of the other repetitive shapes. And as you're ready, hold that arm across and draw to your body. Again, I've got my other hand right at about the elbow, and I'm not bending this arm and like trying to hug myself. I'm keeping it straight, and it's that action that should bring a nice stretch up into the shoulder, into the upper back, especially as you breathe deeply into that space. And down a little to the side. See if you can bring stretch into the ribs, the upper back. And then let it fly up and away. Nice. We're going to do the similar motion that we were doing, the thigh slap, if you will, but we're going to be doing cross body. And we'll do about 10 on each side. Again, that'll vary depending on your breath length. Gather a long inhale. Exhale, one hand to opposite thigh. Reroot. So really thinking about that rooting action. One more. Pause. Make sure the shoulders are sliding down. Again, that you're soft in the eyebrows, the mouth. Other side. Reroot. If you're somewhere you can see trees, maybe take inspiration. Remember how deep and wide their roots go. Last one. And take your feet a little wider and ragdoll fold into a little straddle here. So my knees are bent, my torso's hanging. Remember, you can add sighing breath anytime in your practice. It's just a marvelous way to release any tension that you either have brought with you to the mat or that you might accidentally take on during your practice. So we're going to be doing kind of a cow-cat movement here. Bend the knees deeply. Inhaling, draw the heart forward. Exhaling, as you move into cat pose, push the earth away with the legs. They don't have to go straight, but you want your spine rounding, and you're using that powerful pushing motion into the earth. Inhaling, cow pose, finding length from tailbone to heart. And exhaling, cat. Okay, let's do one more. Good, and if the legs are comfortable straight, great. If not, do bend them. We're going to plant the left hand, and as we reach up through that right arm, I want you to think not about the arm, but about the power down into the earth through the legs, and then sending that up as you reach into that hand. Exhale and return. We'll do that again on that same side, twice more. Inhale, root, sweep, and reach. One more time this side. And other side, right hand plants. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, tailbone to crown, and open through that left arm. Exhaling, return. Let the breath initiate motion. Inhaling, root and reach and rotate. Trying to keep the head in alignment with the spine. And so one way that helps is to kind of go straight to start and then rotate around that same line. And release. Marvelous. Option to rotate with that right foot or move to the front of your mat, or it could be the opposite, I suppose, depending on how you've got your space set up. And step back, downward facing dog. First dog here, nice intelligent hands, pedaling through the feet. And so our hands, as well as our feet now, are trying to work down into the earth, right? They're not just glued to our yoga mat. We're pushing, and that's what's helping send the hips up and back, drawing into your back body through the belly and chest, working the heels towards the floor. Marvelous. And I'm going to take us right into a little pumping here, up dog, down dog. If that just feels inappropriate or too fast for you today to do that, you can come into cow-cat. Otherwise, right into upward dog. Send back through the heels, forward through the heart, thigh bones to the sky. Exhaling and press back. Let's do that twice more. Make sure you're rooting through the pad of the thumb and index finger. That's really important for the safety and health of our wrists as well as our shoulders. And holding in downward facing dog, join me in a sighing breath. And make sure that torso's drawing again, belly into spine, and bend the knees. See if you can hop. And as you're hopping, I should feel this continued rooting through the hands. And then I'm pushing away from there. See if you can kick your butt. One more. Lovely. Child's pose. Come on down to your knees and bring the feet together. Good. Roll out the wrists if you'd like. And tune into your heart rate, your breath. Using a powerful core tuck of the tailbone, come on up out of child's pose. Bring the knees together and walk the hands forward a little more for puppy. Now, if this is too much, you can't relax into the pose. Remember, you can always place a block under the forehead, but you can also bring the hips and hands back a little bit. Letting breath lift and then release you towards the earth. One more long inhale, and on your exhale, one more time, tuck the tailbone and come on into your cat back. Then we're going to release to stable table. And how I define stable table is that, again, I'm not just letting gravity take me in this pose, right, where I'm just hanging on my joints. I am pushing the earth away. So for a moment, I want you to imagine that there's kind of something underneath you, and you're trying to push away from it, but you can't quite get your hands unglued from the earth. And I want you to feel all that power in your center body. See if you can even kind of tuck the tailbone a little more, shortening that space between your hip and rib bones. And then with all that same engagement, just lengthen the spine so you're in what I call stable table. On your next inhale, release right hand and left foot and reach. Hold here for the whole exhale. Notice if you've lost anything. One more long inhale. Is there more? And then come back as slowly as you can on the exhale. It's a lot more work that way. Reroute. Inhale, left arm, right leg. So if we have found that stable table, that strong core, there really shouldn't be much change in our body, much wobbling. Hold for that next inhale, and then exhale, come slowly back. And now I'll just do one breath each side. Inhaling, extending, pushing the earth away, exhaling, returning. Again, with all the softness in the eyes, the tongue, the lips, the neck, best you can. Last time here, extending, exhaling, releasing. We're going to extend on the right hand, left leg one more time and hold, and then take the limbs a little out to the side. And you're going to hold there a moment. Notice what that does. And this really helps get into some of the diagonal parts of our body that keep us strong and supported. Return to center and then back to table. Last time here now, left hand, right leg, pause, stable table. Take those limbs a little out to the side. And again, it's just a little. You don't want to be cocking the hip or something to try and get your leg at 90 degrees. And slowly return. Beautiful. We're going to come into a warrior flow. And if you'd like to join me from downward dog, right leg flying, otherwise you can step back from the front of the mat. So as you're ready, once again, push the earth away through the hands, up through the hips. And as you slowly take that right leg flying, I hope you feel really stable. If not, bring your leg back and check it. Bend the knee and opening up through the hip, pressing the torso towards the thigh. And now exhale, slowly return. Bring that right foot forward into a nice low lunge. Hold here. I want us to check that right hip bones back, left hip bones forward. And as we come up, we push the earth away. Should feel very different than kind of pulling yourself up by your back. Good, breathe. And notice if you can straighten that back leg a little more. We'd like to have our front knee directly over the front heel. And we're going to do some movements here that I find to be really great for the heart rate. If it's too much, just slow it down or do less. We're going to have our hands karate chop straight. Nice long breath. And I'm going to start kind of chopping the air. And noticing we don't want to shrug, we don't want to be tightening the neck, just chopping, chopping. Powerful and peaceful. Couple more. And then as you're ready, inhale, root and reach up through that heart space. Exhaling, Virabhadrasana 2. Plant that back foot 90 and reach out through the heart. So again, we're adjusting our stance to whatever length we need to stay very rooted through the back foot and that front knee over the heel. Notice heart rate. Slow it back down. Peaceful breath through the nose. And on a long inhale, straighten the leg and reach up and back. Make sure the ribs are sending forward. Exhaling, lateral stretch. Elbow to thigh, shoulder heads, anchor. Good. Sweep that top arm up beyond the head. I take my vision usually to the floor. Sometimes it's kind of fun to briefly look at that hand reaching like it's trying to push on a button. And I'm going to circle that arm and let the chest kind of follow along. This is more of a balance challenge. It's also really fun to feel your core body doing that circling for you. So it's really not about the arm. The arm is kind of just the end result. And as you're ready, plant the hands and step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale, sigh. Drishti gaze between the feet. Invitation for dog series. Inhaling plank, I recommend coming to the knees if this is your first round. Exhaling chaturanga. We're bending the elbows in by the ribs, maybe just an inch. Maybe we're able to hold even with the elbows. Settle to the floor for cobra. Inhaling, pelvis anchors. Exhaling, downward facing dog. No wings, no shrugs. Inhale, exhale, sigh. Downward facing dog, left leg flying. Again, trying to not let much change. See if you can feel a powerful line from the pad of the thumb through the heel. Pushing, pushing. And bend the knee, open up the hip, resend the torso towards that standing thigh. Lift that left knee a little higher. And you can always look under your armpit at the left wall here. And slowly neutral the hips, strong core as you place that foot. If you need to, you kind of grab it and heft it forward. Pause. Steer the right hip bone forward, left hip bone back. That should put you in a really good rooting position to rise up. So I'm going to do something different than that chopping motion we did, but if you loved that, you could reignite that. Otherwise, I'm going to have you take one arm down, one arm up. Doesn't matter which one to start. I'm just going to let that lower arm, imagine you're holding a heavy bucket, kind of bring you down to that side just a little bit. And then switch and let that heavy bucket in the other hand bring you just a little to that other side. One more time, each side. Make sure that back leg is pressing back. That's a part of your rooting function here. And inhaling, root and rise up. Think about that long line from the back heel forward through the ribs and heart and rising up. Exhaling, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, back foot plants. Again, I'm going to check that those thighs are externally rotating, that front thigh bone is nice and straight. Toes are spreading. Got a nice anchoring through the blade of that back foot. And again, hopefully you got a little uptick in the breath and heart rate here. And so just notice and breathe. Slowing it down. This is the Warrior series, which is powerful and peaceful. Inhaling, exalted warrior. When you're ready, reach up and slowly forward to your lateral stretch. Make sure the shoulders are stacking, so I sometimes even take my top shoulder and kind of draw it back. And then extending, maybe just to the sky, or to get that true side body stretch, reach out beyond your head towards the wall. So we're going to do that circling with the top arm again. And I encourage you to really think about making it come from your core body. Kind of the same contraction used during compression or cat pose. So when you're ready, on an exhale, rotate your chest and arm down towards the floor. And then back up. Really helps to do Ujjayi here. You get that nice little throat contraction. And as the breath makes that little whooshing sound, you're more likely to be right in that core body. One more. And exhaling, plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale, sigh. Invitation to hold, rest, or come into dog series. As you inhale towards plank, think about the thigh bones sending towards the sky, heels back, and heart moving forward. As you exhale chaturanga, lift the hips a little so that your chest precedes the hips. Either cobra where you were before, or upward dog, hips suspended. And exhaling, downward facing dog. Marvelous. We're going to walk the hands back to the feet. See if you can make it through a pushing motion with the hands. And if that's bothersome today, then find another more relaxed route to your ragdoll. invitation to bend the knees deeply and then reach up behind, intertwine yoga mudra. If that doesn't work for you, you could already come up to standing and then do it. Otherwise, holding in your fold. This is a challenging position to breathe. And on your inhale, I'm inviting you to release your arms and sit your butt to chair at the same time. And exhale, settle. Hello thighs, hello heart rate. See if you can be calm and breathe for a couple more breaths. You can always come up early and you don't have to go super deep. Good. On your inhale, push down into the earth. Push. And come on out. Exhaling, prayer hands. Good. Pause and notice what you're feeling. Notice your heart rate, your pace of breath. All right, we're going to return to chair pose, and I'm just turning to face you so you can kind of see what we're doing here. So when we're in chair pose, we really want our knees to track with the feet. So I don't want them coming in. You might just give yours a kind of a visual check. So sliding on down into your chair. I do arms forward. Some practitioners teach this with arms up. I don't, because it often puts people into an arch and out of their core, and I'd like you nice and strong right there as you come onto the balls of your feet. And this is a balancing pose. It's fun, it's generally good for you, but if it hurts your feet, don't do it. Breathe, stabilize, keep your vision on one point if you can. And on a long inhale, plant those heels and push up. Big thigh bone squeeze. Exhaling, prayer hands. And what I mean by thigh bone squeeze is that you're squeezing the thigh muscles towards the thigh bone so they're getting really activated. They're not kind of partially bent. All right, one more little bit of fun with coming onto the balls of the feet. This time go sideways on your mat. We're going to go wider. And I'm going to come out with the toes, so it's just like a natural kind of a squat position. If you were to jump and re-land, you would find that. And we're going to take our hands in a kind of nice prayer pose. I've got my thumbs planted right at the heart space. And if it feels comfortable, turn your fingers towards the hollow in the throat. So this is a really nice, powerful, and peaceful position, I find. Then, if you need your hands on your hips, you can, or thighs, or whatever. But then we're going to come up on the balls of the feet in this pose. You can steady your gaze, and while you're practicing all of the power and adjustment that it takes to be here, see if you can create deep softness in the face. Eyes, tongue, jaw, throat, and neck. See if you can go a little lower. And then when you're ready to come up, plant those feet, push down into the earth, and raise those hands like, hello, I did it. Lovely. And when you're ready, you take those feet wider and just join me kind of luxuriously going side to side, a little straddle movement. This is so helpful for the body. It really helps balance out the legs, hips, and so on. So when you're ready, make it a little more active by pushing. So it's the straightening leg that is pushing, and it comes again from the intention of the foot to really anchor down into the earth. So I'm not just kind of sliding sideways on this yoga mat. And if it feels appropriate, add a little reaching so that you're rooting and reaching through that extended arm, crossing across the body. So I'm straightening my right leg and right arm, and then left leg and left arm. And you might feel this nicely right here in the abdominal muscles, right here. And you could counter reach through the other arm too, really straightening that up. Couple more. Last time. And come on back and fold. So I'm using this as a resting pose. If you need to bring the feet in or anything to make it a little softer, nicer, please do. Nice work, folks. So I'm going to invite you from here either into classic pigeon or reclined. So for classic pigeon, you might rotate again to the end of the mat, and you can either bring the foot forward, or the knee forward by the wrist, or if your foot is already forward like mine is, one classic way to get into pigeon is to walk the foot to the other hand. So I've got my right foot, I'm walking it over to my left hand, and then I'm going to slowly lower down with my knee towards that right wrist. You have to be careful with that because it can put quite a bit of pressure on your knee. So if your knee doesn't like these kinds of angles, obviously don't do this. And flexing that front foot helps stabilize nicely. And we're in our core the whole time, so we're never just kind of plopping down into this pose. And again, a reminder, if this pose doesn't work for you, simply go to your back and cross your right ankle onto your left thigh, and then kind of bring the whole deal towards your chest. We do that one a lot. So I'm going to offer today a little bit of an extra root position in pigeon. It's a much more active pose. When you're ready to give that a try, come on up onto the hands, elbows still bent, and draw the heart forward. Then curl your back foot under and powerfully press that thigh bone towards the sky. Make sure the heel isn't angling out. You've got a nice engagement in that inner thigh. And then see if you can squeeze with your muscles like you're trying to shorten the yoga mat between your legs. And you're using that as your foundation then to see if you can release hands. And don't worry if you can't, have fun trying. On the left side, I initially couldn't do this at all. Make any little adjustments. Think about power from the back foot through the heart and the crown. One more breath, root and reach. And with support, slowly, slowly release. Good, now there are a lot of ways to come out of this pose. So, you could just kind of come onto your left knee and bring it a little forward to release this leg, either to table or dog. I also want to point out that you can just roll out onto your right hip and kind of come on out, and that sometimes feels really nice. I like doing this leg shake after doing it that way. All right, and we're going to come into pigeon on the other side. So again, lots of ways to get there. You could come forward into a lunge again, like we just did, and walk that foot now over towards the right hand. Foot flexed as I slowly explore what's my right angle today, my correct angle for my body on this side. So initially, I like to kind of give into gravity here. You might be having your hands stacked for the forehead. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to come back onto my hands. Remember, the elbows are bent here. I'm trying to draw my heart forward. I'm not trying to push my body up and back. That'll actually just compress the spine, which we never are wanting to do. Curl that back foot under, power that thigh to the sky. And you should feel your glute muscle fire up, kind of go bing. If you're not, try taking your hand or something there, or ask someone else to poke the back of that thigh and see if you can press into it. Good. Once you've got that, start traction, kind of pulling as if you're trying to shorten the yoga mat. Good. Keep that right hip bone steering down, and then see if you can release those hands. I've got a nice active reach, drawing my heart forward. I'm trying to remember my back leg and reignite it. Breathing. Hello, hello, intensity. Hello, muscles. Thanks for doing a good job. And when you're ready, come on out. We know that our thoughts while we're doing these things are important. So if you're just thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, that's not as useful as, yes, I'm doing it. And again, find your own release out. I'm going to come up and roll onto that left hip now to come out and release the legs. We're going to all meet seated. I'm going to give us a little therapy for legs and hips and actually our lymph. It's called a lymph rub. And so we're going to take our legs into kind of a deep butterfly. And you're going to take your thumbs to that kind of groove. There's like a little valley. If you feel your shin bone and then you go towards the calf from there, you'll feel a groove there that goes all the way up to the knee. And that's where we're going to kind of place our thumbs, and we're kind of massaging that groove. To do that, a lot of times people kind of shrug and hunch over their work. I'm asking you to not do that, but instead to root and reach. And then as you apply pressure, just kind of hinge the body to create that power. So no shrugging, no furrowed eyebrows, no squished up tongue or clenched jaw. And if we're doing this right, in other words, hard enough and in the right location, as you go, there should be some intensity. So just notice that. Keep on going. And after you've done a full swipe, return down to the ankle and begin again. And then pause, please, where you find intensity. Now, I should mention there are actually some points in here that if you are pregnant, that you would not want to press on firmly. So if that is you, then just do some nice kind of effleurage or kind of sweeping along the surface of the leg. Otherwise, holding in that point of intensity. Breathing into it, sending it some love, moving to the next one. I'm assuming you got more than one. I've usually got about 3 at least that are like, whew, okay, hello. And then when that one's done, again, just do some nice kind of rubbing of that area. I'm going to have you do one more thing here. Hold about midway between the ankle and the knee with your thumb kind of in that valley. And then I actually just want you to rotate down. So it's as if I'm kind of turning a knob, but I'm going to press my thumb into that area such that I'm kind of tractioning the calf muscle a little away from the shin bone. And you can play with positioning. Sometimes there's a particular spot somewhere in that kind of middle 3 inches. It feels really good. Well, it feels intense. It feels like you're in the right spot. And when that is done, again, feel free to release the legs, give them kind of a whack. Okay. If you've got a block, grab it. If not, see if you got something else that might work. We're going to put it right under our sacral triangle. So as you come on down, you're just going to bend the knees, lift the hips, and place the block right under that triangular bone at the top of the crack of the butt. We do not want it in the low back at all. And so for some of us, this position itself is just really nice. It provides kind of a tractioning for the pelvis that gets a nice release through the low back. Some of us might think, oh, you know, I could use a little more, and then you would just straighten the legs. Now, if you go to do that and it feels ouchy, you know, there's nerve pinching, or you're kind of feel that you're protecting, then you definitely want to come up into the other position. Otherwise, please hang out here. Notice there's a marvelous stretch available here in the low abdomen, that deep psoas muscle, the fight or flight muscle, as we like to call it. And you're welcome to stay here as long as you would like. When you are complete, come off nice and slow. Always bend the knees again before you return. And then asking you to notice if there's just any particular stretch that you're hungering for, or a pose. There are lots of our regulars that we didn't do. We didn't do just straight bridge on its own and things like that. We did kind of some standing versions of a lot of things. Maybe you're hungry for a little happy baby right now, or you want to do a spinal twist. So anything that calls to you, please go there. And then I'm going to be asking us all to find a comfortable position. So maybe you want to be in a seated meditation with me. Maybe you would like to be in corpse pose, lying on the back body, getting really good with gravity, planting your body. And that might feel really nice today given our topic of rooting, of not just hovering on the Earth's surface because gravity is having an effect on us. If you've been on your feet a lot, or heat has been getting to you, or you're just feeling kind of swollen at all, laying down on your back with your legs up the wall can be quite marvelous. So please find your position, and when you're ready, tune in. Turn the gaze up and in, and from there invite a deep letting go through all of the face muscles, the forehead and temples, the cheeks and the jawline, the lips and the tongue. And then asking you to do a gentle movement. You're sort of, and you can do this if you're seated with me as well. You're gently lifting the chin up away from the chest and kind of returning it. And so it's just a gentle nodding, if you will. This is a wonderful way to massage that occipital ridge, the base of the skull. I often think of that area as the I've gotta muscles. They tighten when we think, oh, I've got to get something done, I've got to get somewhere on time. So in this way we are saying there is no effort that is needed there. In this moment, there's just total peace and presence. Notice the breath moving in the body. And as you're ready, take your head side to side. And you might be doing just little movements, but at some point, definitely explore the full range of motion. And what's in there today? And then please find what feels most neutral to you. Tune into the breath. There's no breath effort here, no ujjayi, no trying to lengthen the breath. Just letting it be soft and steady like when a baby is sleeping. With each exhale, a sense of giving in more deeply to gravity. Maybe softening through your limbs, your torso, noticing if there's any part that's holding on, inviting it to soften, melt. And if you have found a really relaxed state, which I hope you have, please let this experience simply take you. Let it keep you in your resting position as long as it can. If you have windows open or you're outside, I invite you to just listen to all the sounds of the world out there. If it's birds or traffic, wind in the trees, and a sense of all the activity in the world. And then notice your own quiet stillness amongst it. If you feel kind of a itchiness in your limbs, so you're just itching to get going, see if you can calm that sensation, perhaps even with some kind of self-soothing phrases. Let's just sink here now. Let's take a little yoga nap. Just this breath, this moment, this body. Melting, sinking, softening. Plenty of time, plenty of help, plenty of money. Nothing to know, do, or accomplish. When you do decide to move on with your day, I invite you to take your first steps with great awareness, to really choose to connect your foot with the earth. Feel your heel strike and then the roll through the body of the foot. And just notice your movement upon the earth. And as you can, try to create a reaching up through the spine so that you move through with kind of an open-heartedness. And instead of, say, our vision and our heart being steered towards the floor, to have it be up and out, and feel, I hope, the strength and stability and also fluidity that your body has in that position. If you would care to close your practice at this time with me in ohms, please do. You might have your hands on your body, maybe chest and belly. Otherwise, if you'd like to let my ohm and the singing bowl vibration lull you, please do. Gathering a long inhale. Om Shanti Shanti. Om Peace Peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for coming to the mat and joining me here. I hope you feel rooted. I hope you feel different as you move out into the world. Thank you. Blessings. See you soon.